Hello everybody and welcome back to Broadway Baby. This is one of my Broadway reviews where I review a current show I saw while I was in New York. When I went to NYC Pride, I decided to catch a show, and the show I saw was the 2014 Tony winner for Best Musical, A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. Let's get started. Okay, so Sunday I saw Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. If you haven't heard of Gentleman's Guide, personally, if you haven't heard of Gentleman's Guide, I wonder where you've been at, because it's been all over the place. But anyway, if you haven't heard of Gentleman's Guide or don't know what Gentleman's Guide is about, Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder is based off an old book. I can't remember the name of the book. It was a very long title, like the title of this musical. So the story basically talks about Lord Montague, named Monty in the play, and his mother has just passed away. He goes and visits his mother's friend, who's a washerwoman, and she basically reveals to him in these letters from his mother that Lord Montague is actually an heir to this very proper, distinguished family known as the Dysquith. Dysquith. That makes sense. We're just gonna go with it. So in order to be a Dysquith, Monty is basically in this line of heirs. There's 8 other heirs ahead of him, and basically after seeking advice, he accidentally kills one of the heirs. So he decides that in order to get ahead and impress his lover, that he is going to kill off the 8 heirs ahead of him in order to become the heir to the Dysquith fortune. Surprisingly, from the title, this is actually a comedy. I thought Gentleman's Guide was a really good show. It was probably one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. So there was just a lot of comedic moments, a lot of funny songs, it was well written, and it had a lot of really funny actors. I think Jefferson Mays and Bryce Pinkham made this show. I mean, they were 2 of the best leading men I've seen in a musical. Bryce Pinkham played Monty. He was kind of the leading man of the show, and he basically narrated and drove the show. What a lot of people don't know about the show is it is set up in a proscenium within a proscenium. So there's a stage on stage. Basically, it's telling the story of a theatrical production, and they use that as a tool to tell the story of Gentleman's Guide, which I thought was really neat. You know, they have a lot of shows like Edwin Drood and shows like that that are a stage, but I don't think I've ever really seen a stage built onto a stage. It was very cool technique how they told the show. But anyway, Bryce Pinkham was very great. I mean, he was a good comedic actor. He could sing really well, and he has had me rolling. His facial expressions, everything. I could see why he got nominated for Best Actor in a Musical. I think this year, if there wasn't all the Hedwig hype, I think somebody from Gentleman's Guide would have won Best Actor in a Musical. And then we have to talk about Jefferson Mays, who played 8 different characters in the play. Basically what I told you was there's 8 heirs to the Dysquith fortune, and basically Jefferson Mays played all 8 people, including 2 women. And he has to switch between all these characters, some back and forth, between every scene. So he's constantly, scene after scene, posing as a different character. It's incredible character work, incredible comedy. I think he would have won too. There should have been a tie between him and Bryce Pinkham for Best Actor in a Musical. There really should have been a tie between those 2 and Neil Patrick Harris. It really was impossible to call this year. I was just seeing this transformation, and when I was at the Tony Awards, I saw this bit he did before Gentleman's Guide, where he changed out of the different characters 1 second after the other while he was introducing the show, and it was just a little sneak peek of how talented he really is. If nothing, you have to go see the show for these 2. Lauren Warsham played Phoebe, who is one of the wives of one of the Dysquiths, who fell in love with Monty after her husband passed away. And there's also Sabella, who is kind of the mistress of the show, played by Lisa O'Hara. Lisa O'Hara and Lauren Warsham also drove the show very well. They are 2 great supporting leading ladies, and definitely the song that a lot of you have seen, I Decided to Marry You. I mean, that was a riot. I've already seen clips of it on Today's Show, GMA. I saw it at the Tonys. I already knew what to expect. Seeing it live in the show made it even funnier. They had to go back and forth with each other and play these just irrational, crazed women, and it was just hysterical. I think they even outshined the men at certain points. So it was really great to see that no matter men, women in the cast, no matter what role they were, every single actor was strong in the show. So I think overall, if you want to go see a really funny show and some really great original music, definitely from a musical theater score standpoint, I would go see Gentleman's Guide. I think audiences are warming up to it, and I think a lot of the critics loved it, and I can see why, because this show is really good. I don't think it got that driving force when it came to Broadway, and I think now after it won Best Musical, I think tons of people are going to flock to this show. So if you're going to New York or plan on it and haven't seen this show, I would get your tickets immediately because you're going to miss your chance. This show's already going to London, so you know it's going to go all over. So you should see it in New York before anybody else can see it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching my review of A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. I would also go on their website, which I'll post below, like them on Facebook, tweet them, follow them on Twitter, follow them on all social media sites, and get the buzz out of this show. You can also buy A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, the soundtrack, on iTunes, or at any store where you find musical soundtracks. And trust me, this is one musical soundtrack you are going to want to get. Also, in the next week or two, I will be doing 4 more Broadway reviews. I'll be going back to New York for my birthday, and there will be plenty of videos on this channel for you to check out. I'll be seeing Kinky Boots, Beautiful, the Carole King musical, and I'll also be revisiting Rocky and Pippin, which I've already seen, but I've not done a video yet. So speaking of all that content, if you don't want to miss it, you better subscribe to this channel. You can click below, click that red subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Broadway Baby. Adieu.
I've decided to marry you. I've decided to marry you. I've decided though Henry's gone that life goes on for me.